Got is an H262 institutional model with a roll top. I've already removed the roll top and the top. As you can see, case, pretty good shape, but the keyboard has seen some substantial abuse. Looks like there's places that somebody spilt some sort of solvent on. It's missing a bunch of keys. Preset keys won't stay down. There are several other keys that you can hear are rattling, which means that the screws have come loose. We've got to take this thing apart and fix it. First thing you got to do, just about any operation that you make to these things, first thing you got to do is take off that top plate. In order to take off that top plate, you got to take off these covers, and that's where we will start. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove this set of covers, which is just go ahead and take the top cover off now. Two more screws left. There we go. Off she comes. Before we go any further, I want to remind you to protect the ends of your cabinet. I have this heavy plastic calendar that I use. Most anything will work, because once we start tilting these things back, you're going to scratch the insides of your cabinet if you're not, well, it'll happen, let's just say that. So be careful with that. Remember, we have three assemblies here. We have switch assembly, got all your switches in it. We got the drawbar assemblies, got your drawbars, and then we got the two keyboard assemblies. What we're going to do is remove both the drawbar and switch assembly, okay? In order to do that, there are 4 screws that are on the outboard side of this piece of sheet metal here. It's these 2 screws there and there, as well as this one Phillips head screw that's on the front of the console. All 3 of those have to come out. With those 3 screws on either side off, you can see this whole thing is loose now. Now, okay, in order to make it as difficult as possible, Hammond decided to attach this preset panel to this switch panel with 2 screws on the inside here. Oh, I can barely see. There's one. The other one is virtually hidden up underneath there. That attaches the top of the preset panel. The bottom of the preset panel, I can't even show you where the screws are. I can barely touch them, but they're up under here. So, here's a decision for you. You can either keep that attached and just kind of push it out of the way, which is going to bend the brackets that hold this preset panel. That's choice number 1. Or you can try to remove the screws. Choice number 2. I'm going to go ahead and just loosen or remove the 2 screws from the top of that preset panel in hopes that it's going to give me enough free play to lift the thing up out of the way. Okay, here you're going to have to get inventive. I went ahead and lifted this up. It'll help a lot if you have another set of hands. You can see it's just kind of hanging there. I'm using some good old Romex house wire. This is 14 gauge. I got a piece of nice heavy 10 gauge in the back. It's just good for hanging. You don't have to worry about it marring the finish because it's covered with plastic. So what I did was, as you can see, I've tied a piece to the front of this assembly, and then around back I went ahead and found a convenient spot here and wrapped it around here to just kind of suspend it up out of the way on both sides. What that reveals to us now are the keys and their attachments. Back here there are a series of hex head screws that hold the springs that hold the keys in place. The last thing that we have to remove to be able to get the keys off the top is down here remove these screws, and this front plate has to come off. Just be careful when you take this cover plate off. It's very easy to strip these screws. Sometimes they're rather tight. What you want to do is make sure you have a Phillips screwdriver that holds onto them very securely so you don't strip them out, because it really looks bad. And you really won't be able to tighten them back up again after you're through. So I advise you to get the best fit on a screwdriver as you can. Okay, now that the screws are out, you need to remove the plate, and it just simply comes out. Now there are some of these that I've taken out that I've had to forcibly pry off because this tape that's in here fused to the back of this plate, and you had to really pop it off to get it out of the way. So here's another one of those things that before you put it back in again, you're going to want to give it a real good coat of cleaner wax. It's a lot easier to do it now than it is to wait until it's all together. Okay, I found that the easiest way to take these out is with a 1/4 inch socket wrench. All you need to do is loosen it a couple of turns. That's it. And then they'll pop out right out. What you need to do is lift them off of the back first and then slide them back. All of the black keys have to come out before the white keys because it has to slide back, and obviously if this is here, this can't slide back. Do not take these screws out completely. All you got to do is loosen them and you can remove the keys. You can also kind of get a feel for, hear that? Rattles. And look at this. Down in here, here's a piece of plastic. This is actually the boss from one of these keys. This key is loose. So these keys, although it doesn't look like it right from the outside, these keys need to be fixed. Look at that. This key was broken on the underside.